How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Higurashi. It's been a good trip, huh? We got some interesting, I call them fish hooks, like little niblets of stuff to draw us into the story. We've definitely had some interesting ones. The random dumping ground, the random photographer mentioning the murder, the fact that Rena seemed to know about the murder but wanted to say nothing about it, and the voice modulation, like the way she like phrased it was really cool. Like it was just like impactful for such a very simple thing. It just was executed beautifully. It was really good. I have been enjoying it so far, and I'm definitely interested to see where it's going to go. Curious as always. It's also kind of funny. It hit me like while I was loading up because it has like a kind of a mention of the mod that I have installed, you know, to adjust the sprites and make corrections and stuff. And I kind of realized that like out of the 4 continuous series I've done, I've modded 3 of them in order to make them more interesting to play. And it's kind of funny that that's the way it's played out. But, you know, not a problem at all. Like it's great. It's a great showing of the power of fans who just want the thing that they've fallen in love with to be more accessible and more easy to understand. So very, very cool. But yeah, so we're going to be jumping back in. Thank you so much for all your support with this series. I'm looking forward to it. I mentioned it, and I'll probably mention it a couple times just because life changes happen, and I'll drop it into videos just because I know not everyone watches every video I publish. So I had a major change. I switched from kind of hopping between like part-time kind of temp gigs to a full-time job, which is great. The hours are going to be a bit wonky, so I just got to adjust to it, and it should be doable for me to continue maintaining the schedule. But if for some reason I can't publish a video because I just run out of time or something, I'll make a note of it. But it's full-time, like 40 hours a week type stuff, which is great. I need the stability. It's nice to have something like that, and it's going to let me just have more access to stuff, you know, get more money to come in. It lets your finances balance out, lets you start investing if you can. It's like, it's all good. But, you know, it's the thing. I wish this channel could be a job, but that's just not in the stars probably for a while, if ever. But thank you for any of you who do support me by watching the videos or like directly monetarily. Just keep in mind, anything I get from the channel at all goes straight back into it. It gives, like, I use it for art. Going to use it to maintain equipment. I'm going to use it to try and just continue to be pushing out better and better content as time goes on. So thank you for that, and hopefully we won't have any disruptions, but if there is some, most likely it's job and life in general, you know. But whereas I usually had a lot of hours in a week to deal with stuff if things came up, now I have much less, so we'll get to that. Anyway, let's jump right back into it, shall we? I've been able to do almost like a chapter or like a section a day or recording. I don't know if we'll maintain that. Colonel Sanchez. Oh yeah, that's right. The statue she found. But yeah, like we'll see about maintaining that. I would love to do that, but I don't know if they're going to get any longer. I imagine as things develop, it will. So might not be able to do the whole get to an end of a section and do tips, but we'll see. Anyway, hey Mion. Oh, you were just talking about this?
レナがサトコやリカちゃんをお持ち帰りしたくなるのはわかる。だが、ケンタ君人形だけは理解できないぞ。あんなメガネ親父のどこがいいんだ。
Don't be dissing glasses like that.
そりゃあレナに直接聞けばいいじゃん。どうせ。だって会員だもんしか言わないだろうけどさ。
Yeah, that doesn't do a fair assessment of like the reaction, but I wonder if we're gonna ask Mion about the murder thing, and wonder if she'll actually have answers for us.
レナはよくあそこ工事現場のとこへ宝探しに行くのか？
ちょくちょく見に行くって言ってましたです。
Right. It's like, again, one of the things where like she's so sweet and bubbly, but like she has all these odd things where I'd be like, if it were me personally and I were in his shoes, I'd be like, she's lovely, and I get that she has a crush on me, at least it seems that way, but I don't know if I could reciprocate it personally. It's like, there's these little oddities that would just be like very odd. It'd be hard. I just don't see myself being able to be more than friends with her if I were like in his shoes in this class as like, you know, a fellow classmate. But that's just me. And I've been in that position before. It's kind of, it's both flattering and it kind of sucks when somebody who you aren't interested in that way is interested in you. And it's like, you have a few ways to try and handle it, and none of them feel very fun. But I've definitely been in that position before. I remember I got asked to a Sadie Hawkins dance by a girl, whom I never even thought of in that way, in any remote way. Like, just, I was like acquaintances with her, friendly acquaintances with her. Like, her group of friends, my group of friends were kind of like, we shared some mutual friends, and so we'd end up hanging out together, even though I didn't know her very well. And I mean, it wasn't like she wasn't like cute, but it was her personality that I just didn't really vibe with. But for some reason, she just really enjoyed spending time with me. And so she asked, and I went to the dance, and I had a good time, but I could tell that she was disappointed. I wasn't as physically engaged as I guess you could say. And that's a crappy place to be, because like later on, like, she kind of communicated through mutual friends that she was interested, and that made some of these mutual friends be like, hey, you know, like, you're single, why don't you like go and, you know, do stuff? Why don't you like see what happens? And I just was like, I kind of already know what's gonna happen though. I already know I don't feel that way. And so it's like, and then when you do that, you're just being honest, but you come off sound like a jerk. But it's like, no, I just really don't feel any of that at all. It sucks, and it sucks because it feels like you can hear from my point of view. You're like, oh yeah, that was perfectly justifiable. But from her point of view, I probably did just look like a big jerk, and probably hurt her because she was like, why does it, like, what's wrong? Like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, it was nothing. It's just sometimes you just don't click with people. I don't know. Anyway, God, why is this game the one that's really getting me to, like, I don't think it's trauma dumping, because it's not trauma, but like just go expository about high school. Anyway.
しかし年頃の女の子がゴミ漁りね。
It's that's the thing too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not the fact that Rena likes going through garbage that's bothering me so much. It's the, I don't know. It's the personality. It's nothing bad. Again, it's just, I don't know.
レナが楽しいならいいんだと思いますです。
あそこはなんだよ。ダムの工事現場だったのか？
It had been bugging me ever since yesterday, like an itch I couldn't scratch.
何年か前に中止になっちゃったけどね。
みんなで力を合わせて戦いましたです。
Oh, yeah. You know, it makes sense though, because they live in this big valley, so they made a dam. It would either potentially like destroy parts of the valley by making it into a big lake, or it could be a hazard to the town if the dam were constructed and then there was an earthquake, which is really common in Japan, that damaged the bridge, damaged the dam. Hearing an ominous word like fought come from Rika-chan's mouth startled me.
そうそう。何しろとんでもない話だったんだよ。Hinamizawaが丸ごとダム湖に沈むことに一方的になってさ。
Oh, yeah, so that's crazy. So I'm only able to be here because the protest succeeded.
ごめんねごめんね。
Oh, wow. That was a jarring change in soundtrack.
待たせちゃったかな申し訳ありませんわねケイチさん。お化粧直しに時間をかけちゃいまして。
Powder your nose. Surely you're not actually using powder.
さあとこ、便所には溜めてから行け。
Oh wait, he just say calling her out for using the bathroom.
一気に出せて楽で早いぞ。
Oh my gosh.
花も恥じらう乙女になんて口の利き方。
That's an interesting reaction, but yeah, that was absolutely foul. Who was she calling a maiden? If Satoko really was a maiden, she wouldn't have reacted like that. The usual hijinks ensue. And what are you implying with that? I'm sure she is a maiden.
さてと、今日は快速に乗っ取り、部員の諸君に是非を問いたい。
Oh, maybe it's not meaning literal, not maiden. I think he's just meaning like pure mind. Gotcha. That was weird. Anyway.
彼、前原圭一君を新たな部員として我らの部活動に加えたいのだが、いかがだろうか。
What? I thought I was a part of your activities.
レナは異議なーし。
Oh, if somebody had to have it.
貧民風情が私の相手を務められるかしら。
What am I gonna do? Carry your bags?
僕もサトコも賛成しますですよ。
Thanks for the translation, Rika. The three that Mion had queried voiced their approval.
全会一致。おめでとう、前原圭一君。
Cool. But what does this mean?
君に栄えある我が部への入部試験を許可する。
Oh, great. So we were elected not to join the group, but to be able to test to join the group.
順を追って説明しろ。俺はまだ入るとは言ってないぞ。何の部活だ？
我が部はだな。複雑化する社会に対応するため活動ごとに提案される様々な条件か。
Okay.
時には順境、あるいは逆境からいかにして。
How is that different from just being here?
レナは弱いからいじめないでほしいな。仲良くやろうね。
Alright, now it sounds like we're doing some kind of weird battle royale.
レナさんは甘えてますわ。弱い者は食い尽くされるのが世の常なのでございますわよ。
This was starting to sound a bit sketchy. So what kind of club was it?
つまりみんなでゲームして遊ぶ部活なのです。
Now I can get behind a board game club. Oh, baby, yeah. Rika-chan was the only one to answer my question with a pertinent response. Yes, so basically the club that Mion's hobby of collecting games to use. By playing the various games that Mion had hoarded every day. It seemed that, depending on the day, there were prizes for the winner or a penalty for the person who finished in last place. You know what? Conceptually, I'm 110% behind this. This sounds awesome. I'm a little nervous about the punishments,
先に
though.
断っとくけど、ままごと遊びみたいなレベルじゃないからね。
Yeah, you're cutthroat, right? Don't expect any, like, holding back any punches?
一生いっぱいに命がかかってるくらい本気でかかった方がいいよ。
It's funny because, like, normally I would just assume that that's a fun way to phrase things, but because I know there's weird stuff that's going to be coming up in the future, I worry that she's going to be literally win or lose could mean your life depends on it.
楽しくやれればいいじゃないか。そう凄むなよ。
快速第一条、狙うのは1位のみ。
Aim for only first.
遊びだからなんていういい加減なプレーは許さない。
Maybe I wouldn't be such a great match for this. I guess sounds fun, but I'm the kind of person, I play games to play. I don't play games to win. I try to win, but I've never got hung up on always having to win. In fact, if there's any annoying hang up I have when I play games, is that I like to stick to the rules. And I get frustrated when people bend the rules or try to be sneaky, unless the game's meant to have sneakiness going on. But like a standard game, I try not to be obnoxious, obviously, but at the same time, I feel like a game's only fun when everyone's playing on even ground. And if people are like trying to bend things into their shape to try and give themselves an advantage, it just bothers me.
快速第2条。そのためにはあらゆる努力をすることが義務付けられておりますのよ。
Okay, so like, don't hold back. The way Satoko said it, it sounded like she was saying use any means necessary.
もちろん僕も頑張りますです。レナも弱いけどね、精一杯頑張ってるの。
I knew what they were trying to say. In a game where everybody's aiming for the top, it's rather unsportsmanlike to play just for fun.
よし、俺も本気でやってやるぜ。
That did sound like a Takaru moment. With that, I was finally ready for the rite of initiation, my baptism into the club. What is
ケイ
this?
ちゃんに一応忠告ね。レナも結構えげつないからね。
Oh, really? The initiation looks like it's gonna be rough. Mion began fishing around the student lockers in the back of the room. They have the games here at school? Well, it's club equipment, so I guess it's fine.
難しいゲームはケイちゃんだけに不利だからね。
Mm-hmm.
今日は誰にでもわかるゲームにしよう。スタンダードにトランプのジジ抜きはどう？
So it's old maid, but like gender flip.
よし、受けてやるぜ。
やっぱり罰ゲームがないと思えないよね。
Uh-huh.
今回はビリに顔面落書きの刑。どう？
Alright, that's tame, that's fine.
油性じゃないよね。油性じゃないよね。
Permanent? She wants to draw on her face with permanent marker.
上等でございますわ。
I mean, permanent's not truly permanent. It'd wash off. It just would take scrubbing. Satoko cheers the idea on. She didn't even flinch at the thought of such a severe penalty. It seems like she was raring to go. If it's going to be like this, then I can't lose either.
じゃあカード切ってみんなに配るね。
Old Bachelor is pretty much the same as Old Maid. There's only one difference. There's no Joker. In its place, one card is pulled out at the start. meaning there will be one card without a match left over at the end. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Because then because the old maid is too obvious because, you know, you got the Joker's like, crap, I gotta get rid of this thing. But now you start the game, and unless they show you, which I think it'd be better if you didn't, you have to play hoping you don't have the wrong card. And it kind of incentivizes you to pass on and also to mentally pay attention to what you see. Ooh, that's very cool. You could make it easier if you brought it down to 2 suits, like just the hearts and diamonds, or the clubs and gosh darn it, I know this, spades. Yeah, clubs and spades. Because then you only have to keep track of 2, but having 4 where you're trying to have to keep track of that easily makes it very challenging for most people, but if people have an eidetic memory, they'd have a clear advantage. You don't know which card will end up being the Joker. It's pretty a thrilling game. Wait though, yeah, they must be working with a deck that has just 2 suits in it though, because if you just randomly pull out 1 card, like you'd have to try and guess which 3 would be left rather than just the 1.
じゃあ1枚抜くね。
Mion took out 1 card and left it face down on the table. Everyone stared at the card intently.
ま、終盤になればおのずとわかるし、最初はどうしようもないよな。
But the rest of them were very serious. They don't seem as relaxed as I was. They compared the cards to the ones face down, all the while engaging each other's reactions. It was as if they could see what the face down card was. No, it couldn't be.
このトランプ、結構傷物だろ?
It might be worn out enough that they might have, like, learned what markings are. Like, if you play with a deck of cards enough, you might remember which ones might have a crease in certain corners or something.
まさか、みんなにはその傷で、そこに伏せたカードがわかってる?
快速第2条ですわ。圭一さんも勝つために最善の努力をなさいませ。いくつかのカードは特徴的だから、圭一くんにもすぐ覚えられるよ。
But he's at a severe, horrific disadvantage at this point because he's the only one without that experience. She said that as matter-of-factly.
上等だぜ。この程度でハンデになると思うなよ。
I lashed out angrily, but I was rather obvious I was at a disadvantage. After all, they'd gone so far as to memorize the wear and tear for each individual card. This wasn't a simple game of Old Bachelor. If this was a test, then they were playing with the answer sheet in front of them. Bring it. I'll take advantage of your carelessness and beat you at your own game. That baseless confidence would soon be crushed. No. Kick.
ケイちゃんの手札を右から言うぜ。3、4、9、ジャック、クイーン。
Fetch!
ちなみに、ジジはダイヤの J なのです。
Oh. We're screwed.
どうカードを入れ替えたって見え見えですわ。上がりですな。
I thought I was prepared, but for it to be this brutal, it's just overwhelming.
鬼だ。こいつらは鬼だ。
They really are.
レナは鬼じゃないよな。
ごめんね、ケイチくん。
Sorry, I'm a psychotic demon too.
こっちがハートの3だよね。上がり。
Not even a hint of mercy. Rena, even Rika-chan. Wait, I just realized though. So she reads the cards to him, right? Jack. So he has the Jack. He has the old man, the old man, whatever it is. He started with it. He's gonna lose immediately. These club activities were to be trifled with. An alumnus of the club would definitely survive in the cruelest of situations. If our entire class had self-detonating collars strapped to their necks and were dropped in a death match on a deserted island, these guys would probably take to it like a fish to water. I can already picture their joy as they hunt down each of their classmates. Hunger Games style.
ポイントは減点制ね。
You know, I used to goof around. They had this really janky system. I'm sure it's still up of the Hunger Games simulator, but you could replace the pictures and names of all of them. I almost want to see if I could recreate a miniature one of just them and see how it plays out. It's a lowest point system.
着順がそのままマイナス点。トータルで一番少ない人が優勝。
では圭一はビリなので5です。
There's already a 5 marked down on my scoreboard.
やっぱりさ、綺麗なトランプでやらないと圭一君に不公平だよ。
Now there is a way you could make this more interesting since they all have this like system of being able to do it. What if you did it a blind reverse? So you make it so that the person who has the whatever the old maid or whatever they called it, obviously they lose, right? They get the most points. But the person who gets the next like most points, so like if like 5 goes to the loser, then 4 goes to the first person who gets rid of their hand. And you go in reverse order. So the last person to get rid of the last card in their hand gets the best score, thus like motivating everybody to not want to race to be the last one out, like the first one out of the game, but rather the battle for second place. Well, second to last place, because it actually gets you the best point value. I think that'd be a very fun way to flip it on its head a bit and maybe help even out the odds in this situation.
いいのいいの。ケイちゃんだって男だし。これくらいの逆境は跳ね返せるよね。
That's not. I mean, I suppose there are ways you could mess with stuff if you're really, really gonna be underhanded, but I don't know if they give us the room to do it.
貧民風情は逃げ帰って涙で枕を濡らすのがお似合いでございますことよ。
Calm down. A petite hand lands itself on top of my head, which was trembling from uncontained frustration. Uncontainable frustration. It was Rika-chan's.
ファイト、おーです。
Thanks to Rika-chan's words of encouragement, I was able to calm down. You need to be calm, especially when you're cornered. That's the power I could muster during this crisis. Thinking clearly, Keiichi Maebara, take your time and look at the cards carefully. It's just as Rena said, several of the cards have their own distinct markings, making them stand out. Memorizing them should be pretty simple. Think about what you can do in this situation. Try everything in your power to improve your chances of victory.
うわ、うまいよ圭一君。その調子。
I covered the uniquely marked cards in my hand or other cards, arranging them in such a way they couldn't be seen. You weren't doing that before!
角が割れているのは5だったはずです。上がりましたです。
I couldn't let any of these precious hints slip by me. All information is a weapon. Then it was my turn. Satoko fanned out her cards for me.
欲しいのは7なんだが、これかな。
さーてどうかしら。聞いてみないとわかりませんことよ。
So she's bad at body language, she might have her. There was a bit of dismay in her expression. Like she doesn't want to take in that kind of expression. I won't let that momentary lapse slip by me.
見えた、これだ。
Got it. 7 of spades. A cheer of ooh rang out.
なんですって7は一番わかりにくいはずですのに。
It wasn't for memorizing the markings. Those slight changes in the expressions when I was selecting a card were enough.
ほらケイちゃん隠さない。この傷が確かダイヤの2だったよね。あれ？
She was startled by her own misread. Of course, everyone else was too.
あ、みーちゃんがカード間違えるなんて珍しいね。
Are we like behind her hand, like giving extra marks to stuff to change them?
違う。ケイちゃん。あんたまさか。
Hehehe. They told them apart by different marks. The mark was a nail scratch. So I put a new one on it. Yeah, boy.
ダイヤの2を偽装したというですの？味な真似をするでございますわ。
He's clever.
圭一、一矢報いましたです。
Clap, clap, clap.
やったね圭一君。大前線だよ。
Having defeated the Forerunner, Mion, my brilliant battle left me ecstatic. Don't get ahead of steam, buddy. You got a big fight ahead of you still. But by total points, I was already set in stone that Mion would win and I would be finished last. I laughed haughtily, selecting the tone of my voice carefully to get on Mion's nerves.
まあビリは確定だけどさ。 最後にミオンから1本取れたから大満足かな。
That is an obnoxious tone. Oh my gosh. That should be a proverbial slap to the face to Mion, who was at the top of an already ensured victory.
この回仮にケイちゃんが1着になってもトータルビリが確定するんだけど、
当たり前だ。
一騎打ちしようよ。ワンチャンス。勝てたらケイちゃん1位で私ビリの大逆転なんてどう？どうでしょ？
I feel like that's like what could you possibly gain from this? Like there's gonna be a catch, because why on earth would she like toss the opportunity away? She fell for it. A chance for an upset that wouldn't be possible without goading her into it.
ワンチャンスだと？ルールを説明しろ。
Mion discarded 2 cards from her hand and replaced one with the Joker card that was on the table, then shuffled the resulting hand behind her back.
右手のカードと左手のカード、どっちがジョーカーか当てたらケイちゃんの勝ち。
今後ろに回した時ジョーカーを抜いたってこと。
ケイちゃんが負けたら反対の手のカードも公開するよ。それなら OK でしょ。
He's calling her out, be like, you're tricking me, and she's like, nope, I'll show you the other one to prove it. The other 3 gulped nervously at this unexpected turn of events.
よし、乗ってやる。
Mion grasped 1 card in each hand and thrust them out at me. First, I needed to inspect them closely. The card on the right had no distinguishing marks, so I couldn't tell which one it was.
どっちだろう。ケイチくん、慎重にね。
See, it's tempting because, like, you'd think that the least damaged one would be the Joker, because it's the one they don't play with, but they might use it for other things, so it might still be marked up.
ああ、もちろんだぜ。逆転の大チャンスだ。
Looking closely at the card on the left, I saw a little wear. It wasn't one I had seen before.
あのカードは。
I didn't let that bit from Satoko slip by me. Mion clicked her tongue. I didn't recognize the mark on the left of on the left card from the small number that I had memorized. I didn't know what the left card was, but I could tell from Satoko's reaction that the card had already appeared during the game. Since it had already appeared before, it meant that it definitely wasn't a Joker.
ケイちゃんは右のカードを疑ってる。じゃあ右にする？右？
The left card definitely wasn't the Joker. If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that card on the right was the Joker. Even without Mion's taunting, the one on the right was most suspicious. But wasn't it a bit too rash to decide based solely on Satoko's reaction? More carefully. Ah, I remember now. That mark, the left card, no doubt about it. The 7 of clubs.
きっとクローバーの7だね。
I've won! The card on the left was the 7 of clubs. So that meant the card on the right was the Joker. And then, just before my hand touched the right card, I froze. Oh. Are you gonna outthink yourself out of outthinking? Oh no!
さすがミオンだよ。
There was a wave of murmurs amongst the onlookers in my sudden halt, right before I confirmed the right card was the Joker.
ケイチさんは何を言ってるのでございましょう。
Oh, is it all a big play?
だって左。C です。
へえ、ケイちゃんはどうして右がジョーカーじゃないって確信できるの？
Oh, Mion let loose an unexpected question. Everyone else was baffled.
右のカードが何かは俺にもわからないさ。だが左のカードがクローバーの7だってことだけはわかる。
Oh, but what if she's got the Joker and the 7 in the same hand? So the Joker on this side, like it's like 2 cards. So it has the back of a card he would recognize, but the front of it's the Joker. And she just doesn't have to show it. Like she's just gonna flash it to him and be done.
じゃあ残る右のカードがジョーカーなのじゃありませんこと？必ず左右どっちかがジョーカーという約束でしょ？
ああ、左右のどっちかにジョーカーがあるのは。
ケイチは勘がいいです。リカちゃん、それってどういう？
つまりさ、クローバーの7はさっき俺がサトコのスペードの7と合わせて捨てたカードなんだよ。
Oh, that's a good clever eye. Everyone's attention snapped out of the discard pile at the same time. The truth of the matter couldn't be discerned from that sloppy pile.
つまりミオンは捨て札を1枚拾って左のカードに重ねている。つまり
そうか、わかった。
Yeah.
左のカードをクローバーの7に見せかけているんだね。
It was the first time since the start of the match that a shadow ran across Mion's expression. I didn't let that slip by. Then, with a grand flourish, I declared it loudly.
ジョーカーは左手だ!
It was an intense moment. The 1 second felt like an eternity for everyone there. Breaking that silence, the first one to speak was Mion. Nope.
初代部長として私も様々なプレイングを見てきたけど、ケイちゃん、あんたはベストだよ。
Ah, sweet!
ベストオブザベストオブザベスト
That's probably the greatest compliment Mion could give. Mion appreciated her defeat, dropping the cards from both hands. My comeback victory! Rika-chan placed her hand on my head and began petting it, congratulating me on my victory.
リカちゃんか？
Rena and Satoko gaped at us as if they'd seen a ghost.
なんだよレナ。別に俺はインチキしてないだろ。先生堂々と。
リカは慰める時にしか頭を撫でませんの。
Oh no, we've been had! Huh, what's the meaning of... At that moment, Rena let out a small shriek.
ケイチくん、こんなことって。
ケイちゃんならさ、ここまで読んでくれると思ってたよ。
You gonna freaking, like, Sherlock us? Everyone froze. No, it was just me.
賭けだった。ケイちゃんがおてんばさんの早とちりだったなら、負けてたのは私だった。
It was the answer everyone was certain about. Mion picked up the card from the losing hand.
ケイちゃんはさ、この負けを誇っていいよ。
Aww. She turned it around. That was the card that proclaimed the victory of this duel. The card under the 7 of clubs, unbelievable, was the 2 of diamonds! It was a setup behind a setup. Oh, that's so filthy. If I just picked the right one without reading so deeply into it.
部長、園崎ミオンの名において、前原圭一、あんたの我が部への入部を許可する。
He lost, but he won in the end. As I slumped to my knees, dazed, everyone let out a round of applause for the excellent effort I gave despite my defeat.
これにて決着。本日の優勝は私、園崎ミオン。栄えあるビリは前原圭一。
Why was that so stressful? Everyone, well, it was stressful because it was intense. Everyone made a commotion, applauding cheerfully. It felt that I was bested, but it was so soundly beaten that it was unexpectedly felt rather refreshing.
みーちゃんが後ろ手で細工した時、またやるんだって思ってドキドキしちゃった。ケイイチさんが正解に触れる直前で止まった時にはかかったって思いましたわ。見事に引っかかってくれましたです。
Huh? Hey, wait. All of them knew from the start and still got so excited so earnestly?
楽しくなるようにみんなで盛り上げましたですよ。
I actually kind of like that. You.
お前らみんな鬼だ！人手なし！
I don't know why he kept screaming.
ケイちゃんに罰ゲームだね。
Right. Just not permanent, right?
今日は部活の初日だしね。ソフトに行こうかね。いきなり登校拒否になられちゃ困るし。
The other 3 members held down my arms and shoulders firmly. Mion approached, licking her lips. Her right hand went to pull something out of her pocket. A felt tip marker, and it's a gigantic permanent one!
さーて、行くよ。
Sorry, I don't know why. Like, it feels like sometimes I'm used to the text like flowing out at the same time as them cocking, and I keep messing it up. I'm very sorry about that. I know it must be annoying you so badly. She took the cap with the marker and brought it down slowly upon my face while I was immobilized.
やめろ！
Well, bro, at this stage, you just gotta grin and bear it. Just let him have it. I let out my death throes. Oh, that was fun. End of day. As soon as the club activities were finished, Rena flew off. Probably so she could go dig out that cute Colonel Sanders that she wasn't able to take home yesterday. So today it was just Mion and me walking home together. Rather rare occurrence. You've been here 2 months, man.
宝の山か。捨ててる連中もまさかレナに感謝されてるとは夢にも思わないだろうね。
Yeah. Mountain of treasure, meaning that dam construction site from before. Oh right, Mion would probably tell me. The murder by dismemberment that seemed to have happened there.
あそこさ、ダムの工事現場なんかあったんだろ昔。
そりゃあったよ、戦いが。
Uh-huh.
座り込みやったりデモをやったり。
It was a bit different from what I wanted to hear, but I decided I'd just listen all the same.
自分たちの土地がダム湖に沈むんだもんな。俺だって戦うだろうな。
役人どもは本当に一方的だった。
Yeah, it's interesting that they even got them to swear off of it.
偉そうで威張ってた。金で解決できないと悟ると、あらゆる嫌がらせをしてきたんだよ。
Yeah. So it's interesting that they actually got him to back off. I wonder if the murder was part of that, or was a result of its success.
いやらしい奴らだった。
Mion spoke excitedly as if the whole thing was happening right in front of her.
よく勝てたな。相手は国だろ？
村長や村の有力者たちがね、東京にも行ったし、いろんな政治家に根回しもした。
Dang, that's impressive that they got that to happen.
そうしてるうちに計画は撤回されたんだよ。私たちの完全勝利だった。
暴力沙汰とかにはならなかったのか？傷害事件とか殺人。
なかった。
Uh-huh. Interesting. She promptly cut me off. The same as Rena had. Her words signaled the end of the discussion. Tomitake-san said one arm wasn't found in the incident. I thought that a murder by dismemberment had occurred, but I guess I was wrong. My curiosity unsated, I sighed dejectedly inside.
じゃあね。また明日ね。ケイちゃんそれ、うちに帰るまで消しちゃダメだからね。
わかってるよ。消さねえよ。
Mion had held back her laughter while stealing glances at my face. I wonder what kind of nasty doodles they drew. Guess we get to see when we get home. Darn you, Mion! You shall rue this day! If our roles ever reversed, I'm going all out. All over your faces. You won't be able to take it off, even with a scouring pad. That was like the shortest scene we've seen so far. Mion's fun though. She's a goofball, but she seems very interesting. Upon arriving home, I ran straight to my mom, embarrassing myself yet again. The mood I'd come home to was already on edge. Not an uncommon thing in our family. Whenever Dad can't come up with a good idea, it always ends up like this. He stomps around the house with his arms crossed. Mom whispers in my ear.
おかえりケイチ。お父さん大変そうだからそっとしてあげてね。
Right.
またアイデアに詰まったわけ？
今回は締め切りが重なったからね。お父さん充電期間がないと大変だから。
Yeah, makes sense. Dad's paintings feed our entire family. If he runs out of ideas, then it's the end of the Maribaras. We've never gone hungry before. Could it be that my dad is a master painter?
家の中をうろうろしないで、表に散歩でも行った方がアイデアが出るんじゃねえの？
今回は生活空間がテーマだから。お父さんこの家をモチーフにしたいみたい。
That's quite a bothersome motif.
ケイチ、部屋の中を少しは片付けなさい。みっともないぞ。
Yes, yes.
ごめん。後で片付けるよ。
Ah, come on. Please don't use my room as the motif.
ケイチ、お夕飯までまだ時間があるから、表でも散歩してらっしゃい。
Dad's moods are only temporary. As soon as he gets an idea, his mood improves and he starts humming. Until then, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just go for a walk so I don't aggravate him further.
じゃあそうするかな。
Maybe he'll run into Rena dragging Colonel Sanders along. I said I was going to take a walk, but I didn't have any particular destination in mind. I just needed to kill some time. Got on my bike and pondered where to go. I could just go read at the bookstore, but it would take about an hour by bike to get to town. It would be dark by the time I got back, so I didn't want to go unless I had to. The roads at night here in Hinamizawa creep me out. I mean, yeah, it'd be super dark, but oh, the stargazing. I love astronomy and looking at stuff like that. And so being out in the boonies like this and yeah, like almost no light pollution, it'd be just beautiful. If Mion or Sadako ever found out about that. I smiled wryly. Oh yeah, Rena was probably still at the Mountain of Treasure, the dam construction site. The excavation of Colonel Sanders was probably taking her a while. It wouldn't be so bad to have her owe me one.
次の部活の時に恩返ししてもらえるかもしれないしな。
With a little bit of self-interest in mind, I set off towards the dam construction site. I wonder how it was. If we catch her on her own and feeling like she's alone, I wonder if she'll behave differently. Tomitaka-san might be there as well. Tomitaka. Tomitaka. Tomitaka-san might be there as well. The only person with information about the incident both Rena and Mion denied knowing anything about. If I met him again, I'd like to ask him for more details. To ask, was there really a dismemberment here in Hinamizawa? It was my real intention. Oh, look at that. I don't remember the suspension bridge. There it is. It's crazy they just left all the stuff out here, though. Like, maybe not the illegal dumping, but, like, the actual cranes and stuff. Like, they can't be broken, right? Spotted Rena struggling up the slope with the garbage pile. It looked like Colonel Sanders was lodged in there pretty firmly. It didn't look like Rena would be able to excavate him by herself. Realizing that Tomitaka-san wasn't around, I began climbing down the slope unsteadily.
Yo, Rena. 精が出ますな。
ケイチくん。どうしたのこんなところへ。
A place like this, huh? I see. She was aware of it, at least.
事故発生の緊急通報を受け参上しました。負傷者はどこでありますか？
事故って
健太くん人形がゴミ山に生き埋めになっているとの通報でしたが。
Alright. Props to him. That's really cute. That's like an adorable way to segue into this. I like. Keiichi, you got some game, man.
なんだびっくりした。ケイチくん脅かさないでよ。
冗談だよ。レナが一人で困ってるだろうなって思ってさ。
レナのために
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I filled my quota for today. If I don't see Rena blush at least once a day, then I'm not getting my daily required nutritional intake. One blush a day keeps the doctor away.
冗談だよ。こっちまで恥ずかしくなるだろう。
冗談ってどこからだろう。
I just ignored her bewilderment.
俺、どいた。で、どこだよ、健太くんは。
ごめん。ほら、この隙間から。
こりゃ、本当に生き埋めだな。
We need a shovel. The Colonel Sanders was sideways, surrounded by boards and other construction materials like they were caging him inside. According to Rena, it wasn't like this yesterday. It seems as though another illegal dumper came yesterday, dumped again, and now buried it like this.
この山を一人でどけるつもりだったのか？その細い腕で。
There's no way she'd be able to do that with her slender arms.
でも、健太くん人形可愛いんだもん。
I gotta know what your parents think when you drag trash home.
お店の健太くんには鎖がついてるけど、これならお持ち帰りできる。
That's like how she's implying that she's wanted to steal the Colonel Sanders at the store, but couldn't figure out how to do it because it was chained in place to stop her, and probably only her, from stealing the Colonel Sanders statue. Oh my gosh, girl, you're crazy. If Rena gave up on the Colonel Sanders, she'll probably start devising a plan to steal the one in front of the store. As Rena's guardian, I won't allow her to sully her hands with crime.
どいてろよ。俺がやる。
Rena blushed again, but this time I left it alone. The pile was enormous. Also, the more days we wasted, the more likely another illegal dumping would occur. If I got buried any deeper, there would be nothing that could be done.
ケイチくん、レナも手伝えるよ。手伝わせて。
帰って邪魔になるから下がってろって。
Oh, that's a bit much.
よいしょー。
Pulling out scraps, bending them, tossing them aside. I quickly became covered in sweat and dust. Flying objects drew beautiful arcs across the twilight sky, one after another. Lumber, timber, plywood. Dang it! No matter how much I threw out, there was still more. Even though I could see Colonel Sanders right there. After grandstanding like this in front of Rena, I felt frantic because of how little I'd progressed. It feels like I've been in the backyard, fall's come and all the leaves fell. And I decided to go full ham and just make sure I stayed really on top of the leaves because I didn't want to kill any more of the grass. And so I've been raking and just going at it. And I believe the current count is about 26 bags of leaves, and I have some more. I'm almost done, but I probably have another 5 or 6 bags to go before I'm finished. And it's insane. It's great. I love forests. I love living next to a forest, but my gosh, the leaves are incredible.
本気でやるなら斧とかノコギリとかがいるかもしれねえな。
She's gonna whip one out or something.
もういいよケイチ君、すごい汗だよ。そんな無理しなくてもいいよ。
レナのためにやってるだけだ。気にするな。
Aw, Rena began sputtering and turned beet red. Whoops, I meant to say that I was trying my best so as to keep her from becoming a criminal. Oh well.
さすがに休憩。こいつは手強いぜ。
I sprawled on my back over the grassy slope.
ごめんね、ごめんね。すごい汗だく。
It's fine, I volunteered. Rena patted her handkerchief against my forehead. I felt pretty nice.
あのさ、ちょっとここで休んでてね。
Okay.
私、家近いから、麦茶とか持ってきてあげるね。
Leaving the handkerchief on my forehead, Rena took off running. The cries of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. After I was certain that Rena was gone, I picked myself back up and headed towards what I had discovered earlier. It was a garbage pile of magazines and newspapers bound up in twine. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it was around here. Is he about to find the article that we read in the tips at the end of the last part? There it was. They were bound stacks of not so reputable tabloids. Oh, never mind. They were stacked chronologically, going back quite a few years. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of his arms. If it was just as Tomataka said, then undoubtedly there would be a mention of the murder. These are troubled times. There's no end to these sickening incidents. There's a large part of society drawn in by these incidents as well, though it had been recorded somewhere. I unfastened the package and opened the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table contents. Not here. Next one. Not here. Next one. It was hard to search since I didn't know when it happened. I didn't know who the perpetrator or the victims were either. I only knew it had happened here. I looked up every so often, checking to see if Rena had come back or not. I wouldn't want her to see me gawking at dirty magazines, but it wasn't just that. Both Rena and Mion said they didn't know, but it happened without a doubt. As long as Tomatake-san wasn't lying. And remember how Rena said, she said, nope. And then she said, I don't want to talk about it. That's very different than saying it didn't happen. Then if both Rena and Mion, yeah, there it was. If they had just said that, then it wouldn't have gotten so hung up on it. An incident that neither Rena nor Mion wished to talk about. Trying to uncover it after they tried to conceal it out of good intentions? That made me feel like I was acting against my friends. Hinamizawa Dam worker lynching, murdered by a dismemberment. Here it is. The featured article was in the back. It seemed it was photographed with the colored pages at the front. The pages of the featured article were stuck together and weren't easy to open. Rena could return at any moment. Feeling rushed, I gave up and opened the photograph page. The police investigators were carrying a body bag, and newspaper reporters were all bathing it in camera flashes. The image was blurry and hard to understand, but I could definitely make out the headlines. A tragic nightmare in the Hinamizawa construction site, lynching and murder/dismemberment. The victim was the site foreman. He had assaulted his assailants daily with an explosive backlash from his daily actions. It's a horrible image to see the site foreman as it happened. It really did happen. Okay, so the idea was that the foreman was like a taskmaster. He was just really going after his crew, and the crew just snapped and took him out. Seeing the details were on the next page. I turned the page without pausing. On it was: the assailants butchered the victim's body with hatchets and pickaxes. They used the axe to split the cadaver into 6 pieces: head, arms, legs, and torso. I could understand just from the headline that it was just too terrible an incident. Normally, lynching is just assault and murder, right? Just assault and murder. Dismemberment with hatchets and pickaxes? That wasn't a lynching. That was a merciless killing to the letter, a brutal murder. Done by a group of people. That's probably what made it the lynching part, is it's meant to be like an overwhelming mob that does a crime or like takes action against an individual. With hatchets. With pickaxes. With a hatchet. What the fetch was that? What was that? What was that? It was like it looked like Rena with a blade. Rena dropped the hatchet she was holding onto the grass after being startled by my voice. She had a hatchet? Oh my gosh. What a fake out. I thought we were dead. Rena fluttered her arms in a panic, continuing to explain and apologize. It seemed I'd been glaring at her pretty intensely.
ごめん。ちょっとオーバーに驚きすぎたかな。
Oh, sorry. Night was drawing close. I was pretty worn out and it wouldn't hurt to do rest tomorrow.
最後の針はそのナタじゃないと壊せそうにない。せっかく持ってきてくれたんだし、明日借りるよ。な。
何しょんぼりしてるんだよ。明日には健太くんが掘り出せるんだぜ。
そうだよね。早く健太くんをお持ち帰りしたい。
Aww. She reminds me of Mayuri a little bit from Steins Gate. We both knew it was useless to apologize any more than that. I quenched my thirst with the barley tea Rena brought and wiped the sweat that had gone cold. We took the path to head home. I felt quite guilty about the tabloid wrapped up in my jacket. Don't, man. It's good to get some answers. Sheesh, that was terrifying. Genuinely terrifying. The music did such a good job of changing that tone. The tone shift was real abrupt. Oh, new tips. Hey, look at that. We're right at the end. Perfect. Let's read those tips real quick. One man's trash help Rena find her treasure. Alright, let's read these tips real quick. So the Dam Project and a special tabloid report. October 1975. In accordance with the Prime Minister's Bulletin Number XXX, Hinamizawa's electrical development master plan was announced. The vast scope of the project at Hinamizawa Dam was to have an incredibly heavy impact on the village of Hinamizawa. The area to be flooded by the Hinamizawa Dam would include 5 areas of Hinamizawa, Takasudo, Kyotsu, Matsumoto, and Yagochi. The submerged area would include 291 houses. Population 1,251. 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 post office, 1 agricultural cooperative, 1 forestry department lumberyard, 5 shrines, 2 temples, and 1 fishery. The shrines and the temples are the ones that are boggling my mind. That's crazy that they'd be willing to destroy them. All of these communal, cultural, and agricultural areas and places of worship were to be indefinitely submerged at the bottom of the artificial lake basin. Sounds like China. Forsaking the hundreds of years our ancestors poured into blood and sweat of this fertile, resource-rich land was too painful to bear. All the residents having homes that were to be submerged banded together and created an Onikakushi Guardians. The dam project was halted and petitions to alter the plan were circulated. The citizens sought peaceful negotiations, but the government and its puppet company, blank, openly refused. Performing unspeakable, heinous acts, they quashed the democratic actions of the villagers. But the villagers did not falter. Instead, they banded together even more closely and steeled their resolve to protect their homes to the death. The continuation of the frightening Hinamizawa Dam construction project is still stalled as of today. The villagers understand that stalling was caused by sublime power through unity, and they understand that the fearsome plan had not been fully withdrawn. The Onikakushi Guardians had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity it garnered have not yet been extinguished. As long as the passion resides in the hearts of the residents, they'll be able to confront whomever next decides to sink their homes into a lake basin. Onikakushi Guardians Committee Chairman Kiichiro Yamiyoshi. Okay. Then special tabloid report. Nightmare befalls the Hinamizawa Dam. Lynching and murder / dismemberment. Okay, so this is the article he just picked up. On next day of X month at XX Prefecture in the Hinamizawa Dam construction work site in the Shishibone city. Or is it Shishibone or Shishibone? Because I want to drop the E, but that's not what usually happens in Japanese, except when it does, because sometimes you can drop the vowel sound at the end of a word. So, yeah. A bone-chillingly gruesome murder / dismemberment. Even though this case has shocked the archipelago, the police will give no details on the case. Exactly what happened at the Hinamizawa Dam. They probably didn't mean to kill him at first, but as their victim resisted by swinging around a shovel, the rest of the perpetrators armed themselves in return, and it quickly escalated to homicide. Sadly, like I said, that sounds like a crime of passion. But the fact that they, like, dismembered him, it takes it such a step farther. So said the aforementioned investigator A. After the bloody tragedy was over, they were left with a body which nobody could have mistaken was alive. XX-san had tormented the suspects daily with his rough behavior. At first it was meant to be a payback. All the perpetrators were horrified by their deed, and one even turned himself to the police. It was the de facto leader of the group, XX, who suggested hiding the body. Yeah, somebody in this group, it sounds like the leader, so the one who kind of focused their energy on physically taking revenge, was also the one that encouraged them to try and hide the body, which means they were the cold, calculating one that encouraged the dismemberment and probably was the main perpetrator of said dismemberment, hid the body, and then fled, likely knowing that somebody was going to crack. Reluctantly at first, they soon began to think they did not wish to be caught. The construction site had numerous places to hide the body with 6 people. They were originally supposed to hide the body and leave the area, but the de facto leader feared that the consciences of the other 5 wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and came up with a horrifying method to keep them from turning him into the police. He devised a heinous method of splitting up the body among them and making each of them responsible for hiding a piece. Oh my gosh. XX had turned a simple manslaughter into a gruesome dismemberment and forcibly involved each perpetrator in order to create a sense of unity between them. Honestly, not a bad idea, because they feel personally invested now because they're actively participating in hiding it, but they still have the peer pressure. Still wasn't enough, but it was a decent idea. Well, a decently awful idea, I should say. Each one participated. But what does this mean? Person A spoke out reluctantly. Oh my gosh, I just realized the arm they never recovered must have been the leader, the one who didn't cave in, the one they never caught, the one who hid their piece of the body and hid it properly. XX had ordered each and every one of them to dissect a piece for themselves. They were hesitant at first, but nobody refused. In for a penny, in for a pound, was what it meant. Thus, an unimaginable bloody ceremony began. The perpetrators wept and vomited as they performed the gruesome task. There was one person who stubbornly refused, but XX threatened them, saying nothing would change if someone else ended up dead, and he gave up his objections. But XX's plan collapsed in the span of one night. XXX, who had refused to dissect the corpse up until the last moments, had broken down in tears at the hospital where he was being treated for an injury sustained during the scuffle and confessed. The criminals were arrested one after the other, but the de facto leaders, XX's whereabouts, are still unknown. Also, the right arm hidden by XX has yet to be found. Despite an ongoing search, this horrible individual has so far managed to elude law enforcement. What could the police be doing? It appears that XX has said he was going to throw the body right arm into the swamp. XX's car is discovered abandoned near the swamp, but there were no clues as to his whereabouts. XX didn't trust his companions. One cannot deny the possibility that he had expected his companions to confess to the police and use the car as a decoy. Of course, I doubt that theory. Since he has no car, no one would expect him to have a limited area to which he could have escaped to. But within the station, there were rumors going around that he had accidentally slipped and drowned in the swamp when he went to throw away the body. To the locals, the swamp is believed to be bottomless. It's known as the Onikakushi, the demon's abyss, and it's said to be that the bottom of the swamp is connected to the hellish world of demons. The atrocious demon from hell that was XX. Could it be that he had returned to the hell through the swamp? The Zijin Dragon, bringer of luck and fortune. Prosperous future. Ladies leaping into your arms. Business success. Promotions. Ambition. Protection from harm. Not just with the pachinko and horse races, but businesses and even love. Guaranteed your money back. Zijin Dragon Bracelet DX One Piece. 27,800 yen. Fetch me! It's like $300! I like that. That was very fun to have the tone just be shattered by the tabloid advertising. Very cool. All right, I think we'll end it here. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we're getting little bits from the tips primarily of information about the murder, dismemberment, and such. The person who got away, I'm guessing they're in the village somewhere, because that would make sense. It might be camera guy, dude. I could see him being like really confident, like, trying to like pretend to be like, oh, I'm searching for the truth, but he actually knows the truth. Still, that might be too obvious. We'll have to see, but so far we only met like a bunch of like kids, so I don't know how involved they could be. I mean, sounds like they have some type of involvement, at least a little bit, or at least they really don't want to think about it, but yeah, we'll have to see. Regardless of that, I'm appreciative, I'm excited, I'm interested to learn more. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for being part of the channel. It's been a pleasure. I am very excited and looking forward to making more and more content like this, so let's keep it up, shall we? And yeah, just let me know if there's anything else you want me to do or anything else I should know about. No spoilers, obviously, but I'm always happy to hear your thoughts. Thank you again, and especially to the patrons and members for your direct support. It means the world to me that you're willing to support the channel, and I'm going to do my best to make it worth your while. I hope you continue to listen, and hope we have a lot of good memories to share. So thank you, and until next video watching me, I've seen me in next. I'll see you there.